Behold Bastet, goddess of joy, music, and elegant chaos. She plays, and always wins in the end. The sun lifts over Bubastis, painting the whitewashed walls and blue-tiled roofs in soft gold. Incense drifts from shrines, mingling with the more democratic perfume of donkey sweat and fried onions. Merchants holler, scribes argue over ink prices, and cats conduct their silent patrols between baskets of fish like furry tax collectors. Among them moves Khemu, pickpocket, poet, philosopher, and, according to his own marketing, redistributor of wealth in difficult times. His vest is frayed, his sandals are survivors of better days, but his grin could convince even a crocodile that it owed him money. He claims he once studied at the House of Life, but found the curriculum too honest. To Khemu, the market is a grand orchestra, and his fingers are the flutes. Everyone plays, he muses, but only I make a profit. Behind him, a single black cat watches with the unblinking patience of eternity. Somewhere, Bastet purrs. Opportunity comes wrapped in perfume. A merchant, distracted by gossip about a new decree taxing beer, leans too far from his purse. Khemu bows slightly. Thank you, your generosity. And the purse vanishes faster than a bureaucrat's promise. He ducks into a side alley, savoring the familiar thrill, the rush that makes him feel like a pharaoh of pockets. Yet when he opens the purse, no coins await him, only a single cat's whisker, delicate and gleaming. He blinks. What in Ra's sandals is this? He tosses it aside, muttering that someone must have rigged the purse as a prank. Behind him, the black cat stretches luxuriously and flicks its tail. Khemu feels the faintest chill, the kind that whispers, "You've been noticed." The next morning, he resumes business with undented confidence. A farmer's pouch, a weaver's coin bag, smooth as ever. Yet each time he checks his spoils, the silver has transformed. Fish bones, lotus petals, a piece of dried bread shaped like a paw. At first he blames humidity, then he blames sorcery. Then, in a moment of inspired denial, he blames the exchange rate. Clearly, he reasons, the gods have introduced a new currency system. His fellow thieves howl with laughter, calling him the cat's toy. Every alley echoes with snickers. Every cat seems to grin at him. Bastet, it appears, has declared open season on his pride. Cornered by mockery, Khemu seeks wisdom, or at least sympathy, at the Temple of Bastet. The air is thick with myrrh and feline dignity. Cats nap on altars as if supervising the universe. There he meets Nebet, a scribe with ink-stained fingers and the expression of a man allergic to foolishness. Khemu recounts his plight with theatrical flair, complete with hand gestures and tragic sighs. Nebet listens, unimpressed. "You steal under Bastet's eyes," he says, "and wonder why your luck smells of fish?" Khemu waves the warning away. Surely the Lady of Joy appreciates a little creative enterprise. Nebet chuckles. She appreciates comedy, thief. You may soon be her favorite performance. Soon the festival of Bastet arrives, that annual carnival where even priests forget restraint. Barges sail from Memphis to Bubastis, drums pound, and the Nile itself seems drunk with celebration. Khemu sees the chaos as his stage. While they worship, he declares, I shall perform a miracle of subtraction. Among dancers and wine bearers, he spots a noblewoman whose jewels rival the treasury. Surely Bastet, being cultured, will appreciate the artistry. The noblewoman's cat rides on her shoulder like a small judgmental crown. Khemu salutes it mockingly. Unaware, he has just challenged the goddess on her own holiday. Under a hail of tambourines and laughter, Khemu weaves through the crowd. His fingers glide toward the shining necklace. Perfect precision, divine timing, until the cat leaps. It lands squarely in his arms. claws extended in what priests might call symbolic correction. He yelps, juggling fur, gold, and panic. The crowd cheers, assuming it part of the festivities. Look, the dancer and his cat! By the time he disentangles himself, the necklace is gone. In its place, one immaculate whisker, gleaming like mock applause. Khemu curses softly. Bastet is clearly reviewing his performance and taking notes. Night descends over the city. The revelers sleep, wine heavy and dream-dazed. Khemu stumbles into a narrow lane between mud-brick walls, clutching the whisker like evidence in a cosmic lawsuit. "Enough!" he shouts. "Show yourself, cat, or at least refund my reputation." The air thickens with jasmine and heat. A dozen eyes flash in the dark, cats gathering, forming a slow-moving tide. From among them steps Bastet, luminous, smiling, her gold and turquoise glimmering like moonlight on the Nile. Khemu's bravado collapses. "My lady," he babbles, "surely this is a misunderstanding. I merely borrowed, temporarily diversified, the economy." Bastet laughs, soft and dangerous. "You steal from others," she says, "but it is your own peace you have lost." She lifts her hand and the sound of purring fills the alley. "From this night on, you will never steal again." Her touch burns gently. Khemu's fingers twitch, then tremble uncontrollably, like reeds in the wind. The goddess vanishes, leaving only a faint scent of myrrh, and a thief whose hands now refuse his trade. Dawn creeps over Bubastis, pale and amused, washing the temple walls in rose-gold light. Khemu wakes beneath the gate of Bastet's shrine, the stone cool against his cheek, a small army of cats arranged around him like soft-furred guards. His head aches faintly from wine and revelation. His hands still tremble, thin and untrustworthy things that seem to belong to another man. His purse, as usual, is heroically empty. At first he dismisses the tremor as morning weakness. He spots a sleepy vendor pushing a cart of figs, and decides to perform what he calls a diagnostic experiment. He reaches out lightly, and his fingers convulse, twitching like startled fish. The fig flies from his grasp and splats onto the dust. The vendor scowls. The nearest cat tilts its head as if judging his form. Undeterred, Khemu tries again, a loaf from a baker's tray. His hand stretches, confident, smooth, until inches away it jerks violently and knocks the bread clean into a jar of honey. The baker bursts into laughter. "The goddess sends you breakfast, thief," he cries. Khemu mumbles something about divine calibration and retreats, sticky-fingered and humiliated. Still refusing to surrender, he eyes a dangling necklace at a jeweler's stall. Nothing fancy, just enough to test the curse. He lifts his hand, slow and deliberate, whispering a prayer to Lady Bastet, patron of precise timing. His fingers quiver harder, then spasm outright, sending a shower of beads across the cobblestones. The jeweler stares. The cats, now a small audience, watch in what can only be described as collective smugness. Khemu freezes, stares at his traitorous hands, and finally begins to laugh, a shaky, incredulous laugh that echoes down the alley. He flexes his fingers once more. They tremble obediently, as if waiting for their goddess's approval. He bows slightly to the nearest cat. "All right," he says. "Message received." For the first time, he notices how beautiful the city looks when not plotted against. The cats follow him home as if escorting a reformed criminal under divine probation. Khemu begins anew. He repairs baskets, guides travelers, and feeds every stray cat within sight. He still tells stories, of course, wild, exaggerated, heroic, But now the punchline is always himself. Children adore him, merchants forgive him, Nebbit occasionally smirks. The trembling never leaves his hands, but he learns to use them differently. To soothe, to mend, to share. These, he says, holding them up, are certified by Bastet herself. Shake carefully. When pilgrims ask his secret, he replies, honesty pays less, but the receipts are divine. The cats, naturally, approve this statement with collective purrs. Evening settles over Bubastis, calm and golden, the last light catching on rows of finished baskets stacked neatly beside Khemu's door. The smell of reed, honey, and temple incense fills the air. Inside, a small oil lamp flickers, painting the room in bronze light. Cats lie scattered across the floor like soft punctuation marks, purring at the rhythm of his quiet success. The day's earnings, honest ones, gleam in a small bowl, a few coins, a jar of milk, and one perfectly ripe fig. Khemu stretches on his mat and lets the hum of the city fade into a contented silence. His hands, still trembling faintly, rest on his chest as he closes his eyes. Sleep comes quickly. In his dream, Bastet appears not as the scolding goddess of his folly, but as the gentle cat who first followed him through the market. She walks along his arm, light as breath, and curls against his neck. You see, her voice purrs inside the dream. Even trembling hands can build peace. He wakes before dawn, smiling without knowing why. A single gold coin rests beside his lamp, stamped with the face of Bastet. The cats, all wide-eyed and watchful, seem to know better than to explain. Moral: the hands that take are cursed with hunger, the hands that give, blessed with laughter. Even Bastet, who mocks our follies, loves a fool who finally learns to purr.